Here begins week 3 quiz how-to video, which covers the 8-week countdown worksheet. The grid at the right shows a line segment between the points -3, -1, and 2, 4. Find the distance between the endpoints of the line segment. The distance formula is equal to the differences in the x's. Remember, this is x and this is y, x and y. So I would take -3 minus 2, that's differences in the x values of each coordinate, and square it, and add it to the differences in the y values, -1 minus 4, and square it, which would give us the square root of -3 minus 2 is a -5 quantity squared. -1 minus 4 is a -5 quantity squared, which gives us the square root of 25 plus 25. -5 quantity squared is -5 times -5, so you get a positive 25. And this gives us root of 50, which simplified is the same as 25 times 2, and you can root 25, which would give you 5 root 2. And this is approximately 7.07. Another way to do this would be, basically what it is doing is using Pythagorean theorem. So if you wanted to, you could draw it out by hand and count the units. This is 5 units high, this is 5 units long. It's a right angle, so you can use Pythagorean theorem and say 5 squared plus 5 squared equals the hypotenuse squared, or c. 25 plus 25, you get 50 equals c squared. Square root both sides, and again you end up with root 50. So either way is fine. Midpoint is asking for the middle, so somewhere in here. How do you find that? Well, the formula for that is to take the sum of the x's and divide it by 2. To get the x coordinate, take the sum of the y's and divide by 2 to get the y value. So in other words, you're getting the average of those two coordinates. And that will give you -1/2 and 3/2, which is fine. And I think on the quiz I gave the decimal versions of that, -0.5 and 1.5. Both are fine. And see if that works out. -0.5 and 1.5. That looks pretty good. How far is the midpoint from each endpoint of the line segment? Now remember, here's your midpoint. What's the distance from there to the end? Well, the whole distance is root 50. We found that out in A. So just dividing it by 2 would give you half the distance. In this case, you're taking 7.07 and dividing by 2. So approximately 3.54, I believe. Approximately. Number 2, which expression is equivalent? Well, in our initial expression, there are no parentheses. In all options that we have, we've created parentheses. So this is a question where you want to factor out a greatest common factor. Notice that both terms are divisible by 5. That is a greatest common factor. They also both have at least one x. And they also have at least one y. So what goes in the parentheses is what's left after you divide each term by 5xy. Another way to look at this is to say 5xy times what gives you this front term. Well, 5 times 1 gives you the 5, so we don't have to write that. X times x squared gives you the x cubed. And y times, again, 1 gives you y, so you would not want to write anything else. Minus, now 5xy times what gives you this one? Well, 7 times 5 is 35. X times a 1 is x, we already have that. And y times y gives you y squared. So this matches best with C. Which relation represents a function? Now a function passes a vertical line test, which means on a graph no point can be above another. So this is not a function. Which means this coordinate would be 1, 2, x first, and this coordinate is 1, -1. Now notice they both have the same x values. So one x value can give you only one y value, but in this case, one x value, which in this case is 1, gave you two different y values, therefore not a function. So E has 3, 3, 3, 4, and 3, 5. All the same x values giving you three different y values, not a function. Here you have 3 giving you a 5 and a 4, not a function. G, you have 3 giving you a 3, which is fine, 4 giving you a 3, and 4 giving you a 5. 4 shows up twice in the x position. Again, not a function. H has 3, 3, 4, 3, and 5, 3. Now you might say, well, they all have the same y's, but that's okay. The x's cannot show up more than once. So 3, 4, and 5 are all different x's. That allows us to graph something that's not going to put one point above another. So H is your answer. Number 4, the populations of Minnesota's 8 most populous cities are shown in the table below. What is the median population of these cities? Now median represents middle when your data is in numerical order. Notice that it does go from 64,000 up to 373,000 in order. So our middle term is our median. Now there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 terms. So we would count 4 in. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is here. 1, 2, 3, 4, which is there. Now there's 2 middle terms. So to find out the true median, we would take each of the middle terms, add them up, and divide by 2. Now what I'm doing here then is basically finding the average. And the average would be 84,500. So 84,500. A. Notice where Rochester is, and that is now above 100,000. So we've grown. Number 5, the table below shows the number of players in each position on the active roster of the Minnesota Wild in 2005, and how many ways can the coach choose one center, one right wing, one left wing, and one goalie. Now this is a combination question, which means we would say one center, there's 3 of them, so we'd say 3 centers and you're going to choose one. And you're going to say for one right wing, 4 right wings, so 4, choose one, you can only have one. One left wing, there's 4 of those. And then one goalie, there's 2 of those. Now you can use your calculators to do combinations, or else you can use Pascal's triangle, which is a sum of the 2 numbers above. This is another way of doing it without your calculator. Notice that I'm just adding up These two numbers added together give you that. These two give you that. These two give you that, etc. The two above funnel down to create the number below. Now this is, the row is the second number in. So this is row 2, row 3, row 4, and row 5. The second number in tells you the row. The first number represents the row. So 3, choose 1. Row 3, and it's the first number in, not counting the first number, which is strange, but it is the second one in actually. So 3. So this one is 3. Row 4, choose 1, would give you this one. Next one is the same. And then 2, choose 1, would give you this one. Now again, you can do this on your calculator by using NCR, where you would put 3 NCR and then a 1. That's how you would do it, use a TI-83 or 84. But the more important part is what do you do with these numbers, and that is that you multiply them all. 3 times 4 times 4 times 2 gives you 96. So again, above, I'm going to put 96 here, again to show you that it doesn't matter where you put them, as long as you fill in the appropriate circles. The last time we put it in the middle, so again, it doesn't matter. And this ends week 3, the quiz.